We have a special guest. Oh, wait. This is not hazy. This is not hazy. Scott, are you okay?
Yeah, I overspilled it. Horrible pour.
It's so hard to get the beer on camera. And look, oh my God.
It's a really pretty color.
Yeah, that's you've probably heard of them. Lord Hobo from my hometown, Woburn, Mass. That's where I grew up.
Nice.
I have never tried their Oktoberfest until now, so it's definitely a pretty color. Look at that. They're calling it a fest beer, but more importantly, guys, welcome to the Pints and Profits show. I am Dennis, the Free King Flipper. I have a passion for craft beer and reselling. I sell on eBay, Poshmark, Mercari, Facebook Marketplace. I've also worked in the craft beer industry, serving beer and selling beer. More importantly, we have a special guest, Lindsay Hoppy Hayes, and she is going to join us and she's going to enlighten us in her world and how that mixes into craft beer and vice versa. Lindsay, welcome to the show. I'm here also with Scott, Fisher Flips. Tell me about it.
Lindsay, right? Or me?
Yeah, doesn't matter.
Yeah, go ahead, Lindsay. Everyone knows me.
Well, thanks for having me, guys. I've been in the craft beer industry for almost 10 years and have a passion for beer and created an Instagram out of it. Because why not?
Why not?
Exactly.
So where are you from?
I'm from outside DC in the Maryland area originally. And then I came to the South for college, lived in North Carolina for college, moved to Nashville for 3 years. And then I've been in Charlotte, North Carolina for 5 years now.
Very cool. How did you get into craft beer? Like what?
By accident.
Really?
Literally by accident. So in college, I would definitely consider myself like very outgoing, big personality type, especially at that age. I actually started as a like Molson Coors like sample girl in college. Okay. So I was doing like the Blue Moon like one-offs and like all the different things, like going to like bar to bar and doing samples and like one of those like skimpy little dresses. I was like, oh, this is fun. I get like paid and drink beer. Awesome. Yeah. Like all my friends get to drink for free. That sounds great. And then I created a bar crawl my senior year and worked with different distributors and different brewery companies. I was like, this seems kind of fun. Learned what like IBUs meant. Had no idea what that was. Yep. And then moved home after college because I'm from like a big city. So unfortunately, Greenville, North Carolina was a little too small at the time. And my background's in healthcare. And I was working in like pharmaceuticals and it was like a temp job. Once that was over, I was like, I need something to do or else my parents are going to be super mad that they helped me get a degree and pay for it. And I'm not working. And Flying Dog Brewery was hiring a bunch of different beer stewards. That's what we were called back then?
Yes.
And I was like, okay, well, like I don't have like craft beer experience, but especially like through college and craft beer kind of being on the up and up, like my senior year, I was like, okay, like why not like give it a shot? And it worked out. And I was with Flying Dog for about a year. Obviously, I learned everything there is to know. Like you had to get your level 1 Cicerone within 30 days. Yep. I knew like every beer, all the characteristics. I was doing tours. I was doing events. Like they just kind of threw me in everything because like that's just the person I am. I've always, especially, I mean, working in the industry, you're kind of always a jack of all trades working at a brewery. Yeah. You kind of have to know how to do everything. So that kind of just set me up to love craft beer. I mean, Raging Bitch being my gateway, like craft beer being a Belgian IPA is absolutely insane. That is not normal for most people. Belgians are still like West Coast and Belgian triples are like both my favorite styles. So that's kind of like fascinating for people because usually those styles aren't as like common. Yeah, he's checking the dog park to make sure there's nothing there. Oh, it's fine.
What's his name?
This is Ryan.
Ryan, cheers.
Yeah. He's actually a level 2 Cicerone, so I'm trying to do level 2. He's going for level 3.
No way. I'm a 1.
We are beer nerds in this house, let me tell you. And
There's nothing wrong with that.
Oh yeah, and we were just in Germany and Belgium and Iceland, like really diving into like the traditional sense of beer. But yeah, so Flying Dog, like I was like, I love beer. I'm hooked. This is awesome. But unfortunately, my time in Maryland was short and I was ready to leave. I was ready for my next chapter in life. Moved to Nashville, Tennessee off of a whim. Literally knew nobody, just me and a friend that were just on a dream, just ready to go. It's hung up in the closet, right? Yeah. Looking for the dog's leash. We have a dog staying over for the weekend. I do Rover on the side. I just love animals. So we just always have different dogs at our house.
What don't you do?
You're telling me. And I have a wedding in a month. Like it's a lot. But end up in Nashville, worked in healthcare, got a job with my degree to make my parents happy, ran away 12 hours from home. And then I worked at Southern Grist for like a year and a half. Yeah. So I got to work at Southern Grist because I went to a concert by myself.
Cheers.
He's going to go drink Lawson's at the dog park.
Perfect.
Hey, nothing wrong with that.
Life is tough, huh?
Nothing at all. Yeah, just ended up at a concert alone, met these two guys. I was like, yeah, just moved here, don't have any friends. He's like, oh yeah, I know the owner of Southern Grist. Like, do you want an interview? I was like, yes, please. End up living like a block, like 2 blocks away from their new location in West Nashville. So ended up like opening that place up with some cool people. And that's when Hoppy Haze was kind of created, to be honest. It was like 2018, early 2019 when the algorithm was still really kind to everyone. And that's when I kind of decided I wanted to move to Charlotte. Just I missed being home. Like I went to school in North Carolina. So, and being close to the beach and having like decent seafood for once, I like kind of missed that. So I was like, okay, I'm going to create this account. Maybe like I don't know, people might like me, people might not.
Right.
And then I wanted to get back in beer because I was like, okay, if I get a healthcare job, it's going to take like 6 months for me to apply and get that going. And I don't even live there yet. So it's going to be impossible. So I was like, all right, I'll go back into beer for like 6 months, give or take. Ended up getting 8 interviews from my account by itself. Like I created the account to get a job basically because nobody was answering my emails. Everyone was like, no, we don't have any openings. Like, sorry, maybe check back. I was like, well, I don't really have a lot of time. Ended up getting 8 interviews from my Hoppy Haze account because I just messaged them directly. Yeah. So you talk about power of social media. Like I literally went from like 3K to 10K overnight to literally get a job, which is absolutely insane. Like I've never wanted to be an influencer. I still like, it kind of just like makes me uncomfy and like very like anxious. The thought of like making content for like pay or doing things that I don't want to do. I've just always been a very free spirit. I kind of just post what I want and somehow so yeah, Hoppy Haze has been around for 5 years now. June of 2019, I made it. And I do like a lot more just because it's like right now it's like I'm focusing on a wedding. We had a really tough year with our brewery owner passing. So I've kind of like just chilled out a little bit, like focused on myself and ourselves. But trust me, I still love a good beer. I love going to breweries. I've been at almost every single one of them in Charlotte. I even have a spreadsheet of every brewery in North Carolina that I want to finish by the end of next year. I wanted to do it this year. However, with the wedding, it has taken a lot of time away from me. So by next year, I want to hit every brewery that produces in North Carolina.
How many?
It's about 475.
Wow.
Yeah,
All
it's a good amount. But the good thing is a lot of them are in Charlotte, which I've already gone to them. And it's also Asheville, which I've also done a lot. So I mean, like obviously you don't have to see it, but I've organized it by city. So that's Asheville in the green, Charlotte in blue, and then all the pink is the ones I've been to.
That's wild.
Yeah. So there's actually some I haven't even checked on, but
well,
that's kind of all I have.
It's your show. We're just gonna leave.
See ya. Thanks for coming, guys. But basically, I mean, like, I don't know. I just post about beer and places I love. And some people ask me for like recommendations sometimes, which I just help them out. Yep. But North Carolina is a great beer state, and I love to showcase it for everyone.
Well, we asked for a recommendation from a friend of mine down in New Orleans, Amber, and you were it, and wow, she nailed
I love
it.
her so much.
Yeah, she nailed it.
1,000%.
So Scott,
I'm just gonna sit and watch you two talk.
Oh, you're good. Yeah,
I was just gonna say.
It's like, I mean, being like when you first see my profile, you're just like, oh, it's a girl with beer, which like totally fine. If that's the way you get to learn about beer, hell yeah, like that's awesome.
Well, you know what? Oh, sorry. I didn't
No,
mean
you're
to
good.
interrupt. So the funny thing about like our relationship is like I'm fairly new to the craft beer world,
Okay.
maybe 6 months.
Oh wow.
So
Oh,
by
wow.
doing this podcast and hanging out with
Uh-huh.
Dennis and trying different breweries, I'm learning. I'm learning what my palate likes and learning what I don't
Yeah.
like. So I
miss
love when we get guests on that like know all this crap. It's
Yeah.
just I take it all in. I'm learning as much as I can. So it's great. So
Yeah.
listening
Oh,
to you guys talk back and forth is insane.
yeah, I wish I could go back to the first 6 months that I was exploring beer because honestly, like, I'm sure you can relate. Like, sometimes you kind of just, I don't know, especially with like beer tours and different things, you're kind of just like, okay, like I've heard this a million times. Like, but especially since I'm like a brewery manager, it's like people come in for the first time every single day, and you have
Right.
to like remember like this is their first experience. And it's always so beautiful. Just people like find because most people are like, oh, I just don't like beer. And I'm like, it's not that you don't like beer. It's that you haven't found the one for you because you usually assume like people are just like, oh, I like Blue Moon. I like Miller Lite. Or they're like, oh, I don't like beers that taste like beer, but they're not talking about like the beer flavor. They're talking about West Coast IPAs. They don't like the bitterness. But I'm like, there's a million other things in between. They just haven't found the one that like works for them.
Yeah, and I never liked craft beer. I was always like the Coors Light and the Bud Light, the kind of boring stuff, right? And there was a few times with the Dennis's house, last year, and he's like, "Hey, try this." I'm like, "I don't like it. Like, I just can't taste it. I don't like the bitterness. I don't like the way it tastes." And then one day we're at Treehouse, and that was it.
That's the best place to get you started. I'll tell you that.
And that was it.
If you don't like their beer, I think you just don't like beer. You might be one of the rare ones.
He's hooked. He is absolutely hooked.
That's awesome. Are you drinking Treehouse right now?
I am not. I'm drinking 2 weeks notice.
Okay.
They're out of Springfield, Mass.
Cool.
This is called the Resignation IPA.
Sweet.
And yeah, pretty good.
Love that for you. Yeah, once you get to like be nerdy, then you're gonna because like there is a situation where you drink so many IPAs, you kind of get like bored or like burned out, and then what you do is then you start finding out which hops you like, and then you pretty much do like taste tests, and then you figure out which hops you really love, and that's like a whole other layer, which is what kind of I do. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I kind of know what I stay away from. Like this has Citra Mosaic, and what else does it have? It Simcoe. And I've been falling in love with like I know Dennis doesn't like Nelson, but Fiden's in Albany puts their Nelson twist on it, and it's oh my god, so good.
Oh, so is that your least favorite hop? Do you think Nelson's hop?
Not mine. No, I mean maybe Dennis's. I like
no.
Nelson.
I think Vic's Secret is not one of my favorites.
That's my least favorite, actually. And people are so confused by that because it's usually a very approachable hop. And I don't know what it is. I can't stand it. It's like dirty sewage or something. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because if it's like a finishing hop or like where if it's a dry hop situation, but like Vic's Secret is my least favorite ever.
As soon as I see it in the listing, I don't care if it's like getting glowing reviews. I'm not going to do it.
If it has Vic's Secret in the label or like on the sign or on the label, I'm done. I literally will not drink it because it's not worth it. If I do, like if it's like, oh, it might be the one I like, I'm not drinking it. But if it has Simcoe, I will get it every time.
100%. Yep. You are drinking what now? I'm going to add that. We saw a little sip in there somewhere. There it is.
By Lawson's. We love them so much. And they just started distributing in North Carolina.
That's great. They are everywhere. They're trying to.
I love it.
At least the East Coast. I don't know if
I've never
ventured out into the West Coast.
I've never seen it here. Yeah.
How about the yellow can Sip of Sunshine?
It's gotta be in Mass. I would be shocked.
He's in.
I'm in New York.
It's in Mass. He's in New York.
It's gotta be in New York. It's in Philly. I do know that.
I'll have to look out for it. I haven't seen it. It doesn't look familiar to me. But now that I've seen it once, I'll see it now.
He's got the classic one, but the Sip of Sunshine is the yellow, but it's a similar like little sun, same font. They're great humans, and we usually would go up to Philly like during Christmas and get like 3 cases just to have it. But now we can just go down the street and get it on draft. Very lucky down here.
Let's see, where is that? I have it here for you guys. There it is. That one, Scott. You've never seen this one?
Never seen it.
But I mean, to be fair, he's just gotten a beer, so he's probably seen it. He just hasn't.
But I'm gonna see it this weekend. Watch.
You're gonna see it everywhere you go.
Yeah.
and it's going to be beautiful. And I love that for you.
Nice.
You have to at least try it. I mean, it's
Yeah.
one of the
You like
classic
it,
Vermont
right?
beers, you know.
Yeah, and they have hazy rays, so it's the purple. It's pretty much, it's all the same. It's just different colors. So the hazy rays is going to be that light purple, like a medium color. That's a hazy, and then of course, like sip is more of that like kind of no coast / like west. So yeah, if you try them, you have to let me know because I want to know your opinion.
Yeah, I'll let you know.
So I'm not drinking a hazy beer, even though it's not clear. Anybody want to guess the style of beer that I'm drinking?
To be honest, by that color and that like opaqueness or like the like clarity, I would have not guessed this style.
It's a fest beer from Lord Hobo Brewing. Lord Hobo is in we just talked about them actually last week. They are in Woburn, Massachusetts. I am a graduate of Woburn High School.
Oh,
Little
cool.
fun fact.
Fun fact.
So they're not close to Cape Cod. I don't get up there, but they distribute everywhere. Actually, I think they're actually in Florida. So I'm drinking the Lord Hobo Oktoberfest Fest beer, and it's coming in at, I think, 5.5%.
Nice.
Yes, 5.5%. And I'm going to tell you right now, after drinking IPAs all summer long, it is very enjoyable, very nice on the palate. You can awesome, just that classic Oktoberfest aroma. Very crisp, real clean mouthfeel with a nice finish to it. And you can see it's a very pretty beer. So I just wanted to mix things up. I know that we just looked up Oktoberfest. Oktoberfest doesn't start in October. It actually starts in 2 days.
Yeah, it's
the
like
21st. Yeah. So I didn't know that. I thought, oh yeah, it's why are they putting these beers out so early? Because that's when Oktoberfest in Germany is. It's this weekend. It's this weekend. So yeah, it's great stuff. So everyone has a beer. If you're watching and you don't have a beer, I'll give you 6 seconds to go grab one because we have a great show for you guys. We have some awesome topics to talk about. Obviously, we have some guest here that knows a little bit about craft beer, the industry,
tiny bit.
just a little bit. Quickly, I guess I'll jump into the show and tell. I was a beer salesman for here on Cape Cod, Southeast Massachusetts, and the state of Rhode Island. So my job was to go into bars and restaurants and let them taste the beer. And if they liked it, maybe bring in, a log of beer or half barrel, something. Some people even wanted to buy cans because some of these bars are now selling canned beer. And I would do that 5 days a week and go to, tastings on the weekends and stuff like that. Absolutely loved it. And then COVID hit. And then it just destroyed the whole beer industry. And all the restaurants here in Massachusetts were either closed or they could only bring in half the taps, half the seating capacity. I won't get political with it, but it was kind of ridiculous.
North Carolina was very confusing, so I get that.
You can't have beer unless you have food in your bar.
We had the same thing. If you were like a private club, you also didn't count. So you have to have like food, but it was, and I mean, I was delivering beer. We just had like an open window where we just like gave people packs out of it.
And I think that's when the takeaway beer really started to take off.
Yeah.
The curbside pickup, you order it, boom, 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 and you're gone. And that is still hot right now. I mean, I do it down at Treehouse here on Cape Cod. You go to the website, I want these 4 packs, and then 15 minutes later I show up and someone comes over and brings it in. I mean, what a world we're living in. It's amazing. So we were talking last week that Scott got a free 4-pack of Other Half, right? Was it Other Half?
Other Half.
So I wanted to see if we could pose the question, have you ever gotten free beer and how did you do it?
Me?
Sure.
Oh, I mean, yeah, I think I'm a unique situation because like, especially when my account first started off, like people from middle of nowhere, Idaho, were like, hey, we have a small brewery. Can we send you a 4-pack if you post about it type of thing? I don't do that anymore because free beer doesn't pay the bills, unfortunately. I love it, but also like when I first moved here, I made it a point to meet. Like I went to every brewery within the first year that I lived here, and like met at least an owner or like a manager or brewer. I don't ever I don't ever go to a brewery expecting to have free beer. I never like reach out like, hey, you give me free beer and I'll do this. I never do that because me and my fiance are like both like industry people and we don't get that. But if like somebody's like, hey, like try this is like our new seasonal, and they give me samples or a free beer, like it's awesome. I never go into it expecting it.
Scott?
Yeah, so with us being resellers, and I do clothing only, so I have a buddy of mine who owns a brick and mortar beverage center, package store, and he also has a couple thrift stores. So what I do is he always wants inventory from me. So I bring him the inventory, and then we exchange for beer. So I'll give him a pile of whatever the amount is. Okay, give me 3-4 packs, and we'll just swap. So it's kind of like
amazing.
I'm not getting the money up front, but instead of spending $20 a 4-pack, you just hand it over for whatever 4 packs I want, and then in turn he gets his
half. That's great.
Yeah, and the beverage center I go to near me, they just got their half in like this week. So I've been
great stuff,
loving that.
Good stuff.
Yeah, I think we just have Green City right now is down here in Charlotte. You can get that pretty much at any bottle shop. They're slowly making their way, but we have one in DC. There's one in Philly. Like I've been to both of them a couple times, so very grateful for that.
What about you, Dennis?
Well, I actually served beer at a brewery. I was a beer server. I had to like buff up my resume because I was a police officer in my former life.
Oh, wow.
I had 0 beer. I just loved beer, and I loved the community so much, and I loved the people involved that I'm like, I have to be a part of this community. I have to somehow. So I interviewed for this job just to pour beer at a brewery. Yeah. And she's looking at my resume, and I'm like, all right, hey, I got tips certification right there. And Cicerone 1. I got Cicerone 1. Yeah. And then everything else was like Glock 19, pepper spray, first response. She's like, what is all this? I'm like, it's all I got. It's what I've done. And she's like, all right, let me give you a call tomorrow. I'm like, cool. She called me around, and she's like, let's go. You're in. I'm like, really?
That's awesome.
She's like, yeah, let's do it. And we had that shorts when they don't fill the can all the way to the top.
Low fills, yeah, is what we call it.
Just a fridge filled with those, and they were open to the employees to take whatever you want, really. So I had free beer during the shift, after the shift, and it was just you never had to buy beer. It was amazing. It's another perk of the industry.
Perk of being in it.
It's awesome. It's so awesome. I do miss it. We also were talking about, and this is crazy because my musical genre like changes weekly.
Let's go. I'm ready for this.
You seem to be a huge music person. I don't even know the answer to this, but I can probably bet that you like all different like music from all over.
All over. Absolutely.
Okay.
Have favorites.
Yeah. Do you think there is a relationship between craft beer and music? And specifically, do you listen to different music when you're drinking a beer? Or let's say you grab a beer out of the fridge, does that kind of move you over to a certain type of music? Is there a relationship there?
I like this. Well, one, I will definitely say like music and craft beer, like people just see craft beer as alcohol, which like I get, but I think there's a very like artistic expression in the creation of beer. So I 100% believe that like craft beer and music have a lot in common. Also working at Southern Grist, we did a lot of collabs with bands. So like that's really just nifty. Like it's just, especially like the artwork is usually like their like new album cover, something that they've created together, which is really special. So like Young the Giant, Rainbow King Surprise, like stuff like that we did collabs with, which was super awesome. But yeah, so I'm a definitely mood and seasonal drinker. So like during the fall, I mean a brown ale or like a dark lager, like I love year round because they're light and just flavorful. But definitely like fall, winter, I definitely love like the braggots, the barley wines, the heavy hitters, the darker beers, the more malt forward beers, like definitely for sure. Whether it's like summer, give me a freaking shandy and I'm like just any nice lager, anything fruity, like anything that's super light and crushable and palatable, like I'm so down for. So definitely seasonally, but I say like situational. Yeah. Like if I'm putting on some vinyls and there's certain ones where it's like a more upbeat one, I'm probably going to go with like a lighter beer because I'm more inclined to drink it faster. Or if it's like more of like a moody kind of dark romantic, like rainy day vibe, definitely more of like a darker, heavier beer.
I agree. I don't know. Wintertime for me is mostly stouts, and then my palate really changes. Not that I completely put the IPAs away because I'm an
No,
IPA
IPAs are always there.
guy. It's the first beer I look for, but I try to. I mean, the Trillium and Treehouse of the world, like the alcohol.
Yeah, we know they're there. Rub it in more.
Sorry, it's like me just going down the street.
I've been to all of them, so I'm okay with it.
The alcohol content is so high in these. It's dangerous. Every time I grab one, it's 8.2, 8.4. I'm like, oh man, I really want to drink 2 beers and not be done. It's just crazy. So I will drink during the summer. I'll try to find that really nice 6.5% IPA that I can bring to the beach. I'm a huge reggae fan.
Oh, nice.
During the winter. Yep, love reggae. I've seen the Marley Brothers and all the family members. We follow them around, Burning Spear and all those guys. And then during the winter, I love jazz. We talked about that before we were recording. And then I get into some of the darker stuff. I like to try barrel aged stuff. I like to try super high alcohol, 12.5%, 13% stuff where you're just sipping it. You're by the fire.
Yeah, you have like a whiskey glass. Like you have like a little like one of those. Yeah, you're by your fire, you have a cigar or you're, roasting marshmallows. Like, I'm setting the scene for you. I got this. You got a nice somebody's on an acoustic guitar or you're listening to just like those throwback 90s songs that it feels very nostalgic. That's like a perfect set for like a barrel aged beer.
I've been in a grunge mood all week, and that would go perfect for that.
Yeah,
perfect.
I would for that.
Alice in Chains, Soundgarden, Mudhoney. I mean, we're doing all that stuff. So I'm sorry, Scott.
Hey, Scott.
So
welcome to the show.
Hey guys, so Scott here from Fisher Flips. Welcome to the show.
I love it.
So like you're talking about like styles of drinks. So like when I'm working at night, doing my listings and working around getting my eBay stuff done, I'm gonna pick something light. 5.5, 6.5. Keep it light so I can drink all night, get my work done. But like on the weekends, I'm coming out this weekend to see Dennis to the Brew Fest, and we're probably gonna drink some 8.5s.
Yeah, you are.
We're gonna have a good
everything.
Time.
They have everything
time of year. This time of year, I think anything goes because the weather is crisp, but it's sunny, it's warm, it's like perfect. So I feel like you could kind of crush anything right now.
We're going to the Cape Cod Brew Fest this weekend, and I think there's 50 vendors. Ooh. So
that sounds right.
That's a lot of
you just walk around and try everything. I mean, there's some that I will definitely make sure I go to, and then in my experience, you actually run out of time. It's just you do.
You do. Yeah. I usually come up with a plan. So especially like most of them are from like say like noon to 4 or like 11 to 3, or if you have VIP, you have an extra hour. So because they announce all the breweries ahead of time, I'm not like super type A, like anything like that. But like for me, like I already go ahead and write down like 5 that I already love and already have tried. Like those are the ones I'm either going to say hi to the owner, I'm going to say hi to the person pouring, or I already know they're going to pour something that I love. But then I make sure I have like 5 that are breweries that I've just been really curious and like dying to try that people I've seen have loved in the past. I make those like my priorities. But at least I say hi to everyone I already know and I already try the beers that I love. And then the ones that I'm like, okay, I'm curious about these, just check them off. Yeah. And then if you make it to any of the others, it's like an added bonus, right?
Yeah, that's a good plan.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that.
Because I'm a huge talker and I get caught up if I see industry people or like other beer, social media people. Like sometimes like I remember Lorenzo the beer cat, like freaking I don't know, like he hasn't posted in a while, but one beer fest down here in Charlotte, I got iced like midway. And like I remember having like there were so many other breweries. It was like everyone had like triple IPAs or like barrel aged like 750s, like bombers. So like I was already feeling pretty good. I was like, I don't like getting drunk. It's like my least favorite feeling. So I usually try to stop, but then all of a sudden I get iced and I was just like, oh my God. And I had like an hour left. I was like, there goes the rest of the day for me. I was like, well, I'm going to sit down and enjoy nice cold water.
But you did it.
I
You
did.
got iced and you did it.
We had a rice lager. I think it was our brewery had like a rice lager, and I think it was a Human Robot in Philly. They both had rice or had like lagers.
Yeah.
So everything else was so high. I was like, oh, water, thank you.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
we are planning on going, and we have our shirts from the Pints and Profits show. We're going to wear those. We're going to probably maybe even do some live stuff from there.
Cool, do it.
We're going to wear a GoPro. We're going to walk around. We're going to hand out coasters and stickers and stuff to people, and just kind of get the brand out there a little bit.
Yeah.
It's slow going, but it's definitely picking up steam. So
That's awesome.
it's fun, and it's
Yeah.
it's one of the things I look forward to every single week, sitting down with this guy and talking beer, bringing on guests that educate us and entertain us and just blow us away with the knowledge. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So
I'm excited to be
I don't know.
know.
Yeah, we really appreciate you coming on. The other side of the coin with the music, beer, do you do anything with food and beer? Are you one of those pairers that do you enjoy doing that? Are you knowledgeable with that?
Yeah. So a part of like a huge part of like level 2 Cicerone training is like pretty much pairings and
Beer
off flavors,
pairings,
which
yeah.
sucks. The less fun out of the two. So yeah, like usually like when we go out to dinner, I mean even with wine. So like say if I'm having like seafood, I'm gonna gravitate towards like a white wine. Or if somebody has like steak, you're gonna have like a red wine.
Right.
Same thing kind of goes with beer. A lot of people are against this, but I fully believe in it. So I love spicy food. So that's a huge thing for me. And I pair it with an IPA, like a West Coast. It actually brings out the spice in food. But like some people think it's too intense. But like one of the first, like I guess like beer and food pairings that I tried that I didn't before I even cared about beer. I was just hungover in college. Was a seawater blue, which is like a blueberry wheat, with a bowberry biscuit, which is like a blueberry icing biscuit from Bojangles. And that I
Okay.
think are a perfect pairing because they're both blueberry, they're both sweet, they balance each other. You don't want one that is more intense than the other because it kind of like ruins it. But we've gone to quite a few like beer pairing dinners here in Charlotte. A lot of breweries will put it on with like a restaurant or like their local in-house kitchen. So like if there's like a like dreamsicle cake, you're probably going to pair it with like a dreamsicle wit or just a wit beer or a wheat beer, like a, that kind of thing. So if I'm going to have a meal, I do like to pair it. So like pretzel and beer cheese, probably going to have a brown ale, dark lager, something light and malty, or like a Vienna lager. Something like that would be a perfect balance. You just don't want the food to be too intense and you're drinking with like a light lager or like tacos in a Mexican lager. That's like an easy one to think about. So like, I mean, it's not all the time. I'm not like, I have to have this. But usually it's just not even like, I'm not even aware that I'm doing it. It just, it's best for the beer and it's best for the food. So you might as well do it.
You mentioned Cicerone level 2. For the viewers that have no clue what that is, you want to give them a little quick.
So I mean, Cicerone is very similar to like being a wine sommelier. There's levels of knowledge. So you're at the same level. I'm just a level, I'm a level 1, which is a beer server. So pretty much you need a beer server to like work at a brewery, standard practices. But level 2 dives in more deep, does all the off flavors, pairings. It does like a lot of glassware, a lot of like origin based things. So just, I mean, that's what we were just in Germany and Belgium, like kind of learning that kind of stuff. For him, he already has his level 2. So for him, it's like a walk in the park. I should have it by now, but it's fine. I lost my senses 4 years ago and it still kicks me in the butt, but that's okay.
It's hard. It's hard.
Lindsay, how many levels are there?
There's 4.
3.
I will tell you. So there's beer server level 1. 2 is just you're a certified Cicerone. Level 3 is advanced Cicerone, and then level 4 is master. I will tell you right now, I don't know the exact number, but I know 2 people that got master last year, and they were number 22 and 23 in the world.
Wow.
In the entire world. So I think now there's 26, 27 in the entire world for master
So
Cicerone.
they have like a test like once a year, and you have to go there and spend multiple days. I mean, it's not something they just hand out. It is.
Yeah, and we had it in Charlotte last year because I know quite a few people. I mean, I know 3 master Cicerones, or no, I know like 6 of them, which is actually insane. Because most of them work for either Cicerone or they work in like an awesome space. Because we have one in Charlotte right now, because he owns a brewery. I know one in Atlanta. She's just a badass human. I love her. And I've met like a couple of them just from like GABF, CBC, all the beer conventions. And they're just incredible people. And one actually works he was working in Connecticut, but he was with a company that was also in Charlotte. So I'm very grateful that I know these people. I probably should use them to my advantage more often.
Yeah.
But it's definitely something that we strive for. Because it's so time consuming. If you don't own a brewery and you're not an active brewer, it does make it harder to study this on a daily basis.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. You almost have to be either a chemist or a full-time brewer.
Or just
otherwise
smart. You just have to be. You're like an engineer and you just get it. Like even level 2, you have to so like the tap handles that you see. So part of level 2 is like literally breaking down the tap handle and doing a video and like saying what each part is and then putting it back together. So you have a written portion, a tasting portion for like off flavors, which like for me, like that's where I struggle just because of sensory stuff. And then you have to put together the faucet / tap.
Unreal. Scott, any interest in doing Cicerone?
I don't think so.
Really?
Level 1's not bad. Like level 1, like it's not. I've seen people. I mean, usually for a brewery, you have to do it within 30 days of you working there. So like you have a certain amount of time, but it's not difficult.
So if I walk into, say, I go into Finds in Albany, so all the bartender or all the ones that are pouring, they have to be level 1 minimum,
They
right?
should. It is not a legal requirement, but if it is I'm going to say this, but like I believe in it. I think if you have a credible brewery and you believe in your product and you want it to be served correctly, you better have every bartender and manager at least be one. That's my opinion. If I owned a brewery, I would not. It's cool if people don't have any industry backgrounds, but they would have to get it within 30 days.
I think what I'll do next time I go down there, I'm gonna like quiz them. Like, hey, I'm gonna get. What do you recommend with this pairing? And see what they
probably
say.
hate you, but also
they probably will. Well, I want to give them a test.
That to me, and I'm like, okay, but I'm also like a female in beer. I just the conversations I have to make people believe me that I care about beer is dumb. So ask a male if possible, because women are tired of hearing it.
No, I'm definitely gonna try it and see what they say.
Yeah, just see like what their interests are. I mean, honestly, you don't even have to go that far. You can just be like, what's the difference between a hazy and a West Coast? Or my favorite is grown men telling me that a Pilsner is not a lager. That's my favorite conversation.
Oh, nice.
Get mad in the background. It's the worst thing. Like grown men will tell me that a Pilsner is like not a lager, and I'm like, okay. Or they're like, I don't like ales. I don't like ales, but I love wheat beer. So there's certain things that there's little triggers that you can tell if somebody knows their stuff based on people telling that kind of,
or not their stuff if they're saying ridiculous comments.
Yeah. So it's not hard. You can just ask them to compare 2 beers and see what they say. Because if you're trained or know anything, they'll be in depth about it.
This beautiful lager that I'm drinking now, also a Märzen.
See, that makes more sense because that to me, like if I saw that color, I would not say fest beer. I would say more like a Märzen.
It is
like the caramel color.
My taste buds have not had that maltiness in so long.
It's the best. It is nice. It's kind of like having a soda. Like I don't really drink soda, but if I have like a Dr. Pepper after months, it just hits differently, and you're like,
you can taste it.
That's nice. Yeah,
you can actually taste it.
Yeah.
Here's a great one, and I'll finish my questioning with this. How, and I know it has, but I don't know how it has. How has the craft beer community industry, just the craft beer world, how has that changed your world, your life?
That is
Positive, negative?
that's such a loaded question. Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, like it's very extremes on both sides. I
Yeah.
will start with like the best thing, the worst day of my life. Best example of the industry. When our owner tragically passed away in February, our entire city came, like our breweries came in waves with love and caring and helping us in ways I've never seen it before. And it's not like I didn't believe it, but like they were ready to just, I mean, there was media outside that day, and there was like a brewery that was like, we'll bring our sales truck and pack you guys in the back to get you out of there safely. So we just did last week a brewery in town that used to work for us. He's doing like a citywide collab to honor his family and give money to his family. I mean, we raised, I think it was like $200,000 for the family because he had a 1-month-old at the time and a new wife. It was stuff like that, and there was, I mean, all over North Carolina, and we were hearing people in California. People were making billboards for it in Charlotte. Like the energy and the love that we received that first month, like we had cookies and pizza and sandwiches every day at the brewery for us. I probably haven't had a cookie since because we ate so many. But like it wasn't like what do you need to help you? Like what can we do to help you? It was just they just showed up for us.
Yeah.
Every single brewery. I mean, there was a dozen breweries that were doing like 10% go to Wooden Robot, We had a bereavement fund for our staff. It was truly the most unique example. Obviously just I wish it didn't have to be the example I was giving you. But it was truly like, I can't even put into words how much it meant to us and how much the entire city of Charlotte was like, wow, these breweries, like this is what, I mean, in my opinion, that's what breweries were meant for. It's community. It's to be like a community center for people of all walks of life. Obviously, if you're a dick, like don't be there, but like it's meant for all walks of life to, finish their day of work because everyone has a completely different outlook and like what ails them. They go in there and they just sit there and they can talk to their next, the person sitting next to them, not knowing who they are, and bond over a beer that they're drinking.
That is the
That-
absolute. That is the epitome of what the community is. I mean, it's the modern day 18th or 19th century pub.
Like pub.
That's
Yeah.
it's a public house.
We felt that. I mean, honestly, we went to Germany, so it was a great example of like the pub. And of course, I mean, they didn't really speak English, but it was just like they had 2 beer taps, and you walk in, everyone's smoking cigarettes, and we sit down. Obviously, they were like, "Why are you here?" She was like offering a cigarette. She like let us get behind the bar and pour us like a slow pour, and there was probably like 10 people there, and it was just community. Like we're all just sitting at this bar, just enjoying a slow pour, and I was like, "This is like ideal for me." I mean, the negatives obviously just. There's just so many different aspects of it. Like it feels sometimes like everyone's there for each other, and then the other times it feels like a complete competition. I mean, like I know breweries, like I wish they were more community based, but like they don't like care about other breweries or what they're doing. They don't do collabs. They kind of just do what they're doing by themselves, and I just feel like that defeats the purpose. And obviously, not everyone's perfect, and sometimes there's just not great people involved. Which just kind of hurts me a little bit because I love this industry so much. And there's definitely been, 2020, great year to not like breweries because there was a lot of people just coming forward with their traumatic situations at breweries that weren't heard. And it kind of just made me be like, okay, like, is this industry still for me? Like, I'm a woman in beer, and not even just patrons and customers, but like also like managers in the past haven't treated me equally. And it's just like tough to feel like I belong as well. So I can't imagine being, queer or like, not a white man basically to like love and respect it when there's just not internships available. There's not grants available. There's not like, we have pink boots, but like that shouldn't be the only thing that like for women. So I would just say like the diversity aspect of the craft beer industry. Like I wish it was more accepting of everyone. But I've definitely seen more good than bad. But when social media is at your fingertips, you're going to see more negative stuff, I think, overall, because a lot of the good stuff happens behind the scenes. It's not shared.
Very well said.
What I got for you.
I don't think I can add anything to that. Scott, have any comments with that?
No, like, I mean,
what's your idea? Like, what's your perspective as somebody new going to like craft beer and going to breweries and stuff? Like, how do you feel going to breweries?
I mean, I mean, I feel welcome. Like when I walk in to whatever brewery I'm going to, I feel welcome.
Yeah.
I don't see any problems going like,
Like being a new person, they're just like, oh, this guy doesn't know what he's doing or what he wants. Like they've
no,
been
no, because
He's gonna order a flight.
I see. Okay, I unpopular opinion. I love pouring flights. I love making flights. I love doing it because it's the best way for them to try everything. Because ours is gluten free, and a lot of people don't know that. So when they come in, they're like, "I'll take a cider, I guess." I know exactly why they're not getting beer. And then when they get a flight and their face lights up like a freaking Christmas tree, it makes the world of difference for me. So
yeah, I mean, like when I was thinking when I walk into someplace new, like if I don't know their menu, I'm taking some time to look at what they have and kind of understand like what I like and listen to that.
It's
So
overwhelming a lot because
it is definitely overwhelming, especially like my first time like in a real like even like when I go to treehouse, it's like Dennis. I'm like, Dennis, how does like what's the menu? How do I read this menu? Because top to bottom, blah blah blah. So yeah, it's welcoming.
That's good. Yeah, because I mean, some breweries, like you go to Europe, they have you just ask for a beer, and they just have one beer. Or like even the craft breweries in Europe that I went to, they maybe have like 10 tops. So when you go to like a brewery in the States and you have like 20, 25 options sometimes, it's super overwhelming, especially if you don't know what you're looking for and it's your first time there. Oh yeah.
Ooh.
Was that the tropical one? The tropical IPA?
I'm drinking another Fest beer. This was
nice.
from
I was like
Mayflower Brewing.
Oh.
And I wanted to try theirs.
Sweet.
It's 6%. 6%. This is Plymouth, Massachusetts, where the Plymouth Rock and the Mayflower and all that.
Oh, that's where I remember it from. Yeah, it rings a bell.
So Mayflower Brewing.
Nice.
Let me see. I'm going to put them both to the test here. The other one was the Lord Hobo was very traditional.
Yeah.
Very traditional. This one, it's definitely malty.
Yeah, the color is beautiful.
It's almost got a floral finish to it. I don't know why.
Yeah, that's different.
It's almost like they kind of twisted it up a little bit. They are calling it an Oktoberfest.
Okay.
That's 6%. There's nothing else on the can that I can read about, but it's different. The Lord Hobo Oktoberfest was definitely a traditional, real malty. Just that I could have like 3 of them and be perfectly fine. This one, I don't know. This one has a very strange floral aftertaste.
That's interesting.
It's not disagreeable. It's just different.
It's not what you're expecting.
It'll take me a couple of sips and then I'll start to go. So anyway, you've said everything that I've been trying to think how to say about the beer community. I've seen the sales side. I've seen the serving side. I've seen them take me in as a non-beer person, someone that had no experience whatsoever in beer. And then all of a sudden I'm a regional sales manager trying to sell beer. Like that's how the community is.
Yeah. For sure.
The COVID hit, and the owner of the brewery knew that us sales managers, we weren't making any money, and he's like, "I'm going to lay you guys off, collect unemployment, and then we'll regroup in 2 months." Like that's kind of like what we're, like just looking out for us. And I get it. You're talking about the community coming together for like a death in the family, a death in the craft beer family. These guys' margins are like this.
Most are not making money. Most, I mean, we've had 4 closures.
Break even?
Already. Yeah, we've had 4 closures this year, which is, I mean, like to be fair, Charlotte, we had like 12 open up 2 years ago and it was too much. But yeah, people that I know that were not making money, that literally already were spread way too thin. The fact that they spent hours, like literally the morning after it happened, all the brewery owners, like literally like a dozen brewery owners had a meeting that next morning to like figure out what to do and how to help us. Because like, I mean, Dan's legacy for Charlotte was absolutely unreal. And like, I just like, he is such like a role model and just like a great example of like what craft beer should be. So like seeing people, like we knew he was loved, but he was very humble about it. So people like from all over the country and the world coming together to support that. I mean, it's just really cool. And like, that's, I like a lot of our breweries do like nonprofits once a month that they give back to, which like, I mean, that should be like a standard, but like, I mean, I joke about it all the time. There's not a lot of money in beer. So when people are like, I'm going to open a brewery and I'm going to make lots of money, I'm like, who told you that? Like, and was that 10 years ago? Because that's no longer the case. And unfortunately, there is a pressure on breweries to have pretty much everything. Like I've seen so many different people, like social media and like in person. They're like, they don't have NA, they don't have liquor, they don't have food, they don't have this, they don't let dogs, they don't allow kids, they don't have an outdoor playground with a river rowing through it. Like, it's like, I can't imagine being a brewery owner in this day and age because it's like you have to have everything to satisfy the culture. When 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, farther than that, you just had beer. That's all you had. You had a water machine, you might have food, you just had beer, and that's all was required. And so like I definitely see every aspect of it every single day. Like I'm always reflecting on that. I can't imagine being a brewery owner in 2020 or in 2024 right now because it's tough. And that's why like I like doing what I do because I just like to promote breweries that are doing well and give them extra love and do what I can to help.
They need it. They definitely need it. Go to these places, drink beer, get take-home beer, buy the merchandise, buy the shirt, buy the hat, buy the they need that.
I hope nobody's judging me on this though, because this is we were talking. This is like my favorite beer, and we have a few. And I was like, you know what? I support craft every day of my life. Give me a break.
Coors does not need it. Do not buy their merchandise.
But if you go to Denver, have one on draft because it's amazing.
I've never had it on draft.
I mean, we were talking about like how much better it is, like on draft from the source. I mean, that's one of the ones that you're like, okay, this is nice.
But what was Scott's beer of choice before you?
It was Coors Light.
Scott,
yeah,
first one's free, man.
Yeah.
First one's free. And then he that's it.
Yeah.
What were you drinking? Coors Light?
Coors Light was my go-to. Yeah.
Wow. See,
and now I'll go back and have a Coors Light, and I'm like, oh my god, what am I doing?
I think Coors is actually my least. Like Coors Light is like one of my least favorite.
It's horrible.
Yeah, like
Coors Banquet beer.
We fight. Like he's more of a Miller High Life, and then I do Coors Banquet. Like those are the two. Like if we're gonna, because everyone, even brewers, they all have a favorite crap.
We call it trash beer. What's your trash beer?
Like everyone has a favorite. Don't lie.
You know what mine is?
I love dive bars.
You know what mine is?
Tell me. Because not
no
any
guesses?
Of these listed. Wait. Busch Light. Why not?
No. Dos Equis.
He's from Mass.
Dos Equis.
That's it's Dos Equis. No, I don't like it. I know it's sold. It's what sold on merit, built on something, sold on merit. No, I do not drink Narragansett. My trash beer is Dos Equis Amber. I don't know why. I just love that beer. I just like it. It's like half Mexican, half German, and they just were like, let's be together. It's cheap. It's just like
actually.
What?
I said I don't think I've had that. I don't think I've had Dos Equis Amber. But now it's like I'm gonna go find one and be like, I have to have this for him.
In a bottle and then throw lime in it, and you're like, whoa, what? Where have I been?
That's crazy.
And if you can't find that, Tecate in a can.
I love Tecate. Yeah, I have family in Miami, which Miami's very expensive. Shocker.
Crush those things.
I found a bar. It was like a dive bar, and I was there years ago. I remember the Patriots were playing because I was really mad. It was when Tom Brady was still on there because I was like, I don't want to watch this. And you can get a Tecate. Oh yeah, you guys. I didn't even mean to do that. I'm so sorry.
Tom Brady.
You guys want to record with me tonight and the Patriots are playing in like
wait, you can't 5
minutes?
Do that up there? Where
oh my god. Oh wait, I'm honored.
I'm a Jets fan. I'm a Jets fan.
Like, let's wrap this up. I have a game to watch.
I fucking hate Tom Brady.
But anyways, there was like you could get it was a bar in Miami. You get a bucket of Tecate for like $15, and it was the best. It was the best. I was like, I'm drinking Tecate forever.
Yep. I don't know why it's so good.
The Patriots end up winning. I was really upset, but it's okay.
What are you gonna do? I mean, I'm spoiled. Okay, I have the best beer in the world. I
Wow.
have the best teams in the world. It's title town. It's like what do
Here
you
we
want me?
go.
What
We're
I'm
not
gonna be
talking.
drinking.
Man.
I'm drinking a treehouse while I'm watching the Celtics win yet another
Wow,
championship. Like,
crazy.
come on! I'm
Life is
absolutely
so hard
spoiled.
for you.
So hard, so hard.
I love that for you though. At least you're in a winning town, I guess.
I,
I can't
I
relate,
grew
but that's okay.
I grew up here. I didn't have a choice, so
Yeah,
that's what it is.
that's how I'm about DC. Luckily, we're half decent, 5 years ago. But living in Charlotte is painful. I will tell you that. Having the worst football team right now, and the only team that does well in the Carolinas is in Raleigh. It's not great.
Oh, that's right. I was gonna say
Yeah,
your hockey team is good, but they're
yeah,
not.
it's in Raleigh. Yeah, because we have the
Raleigh.
Hornets and we have the Panthers.
Wow.
So luckily, neither
Well,
one of
you
us are
had
fans of the
the Hornets, and then you had the Bobcats, and then you had the
Bobcats.
Hornets again.
Yep, sure did. So yeah, unfortunately, our city's not like super sports fans. I mean, Ryan's an Eagles fan. He's from Philly, so like that's always a
Yeah.
fun time for him. I mean, DC confusing, but still diehards. So at least we support the teams that we're from. At least we're not like Cowboys fans living in LA or
No, no,
something.
no. You take your team with you. That's the
Mhm.
rule. That's the law.
Yeah,
You
it
can't
should
all of
be.
a sudden like, oh, I moved to Virginia and now I'm a Washington Nationals fan no, no.
Doesn't work that way.
That's
So much though.
not how it works. You have to where you're born, you have no choice. That's your team. That's
Yeah,
your team.
yeah.
But if you're born in a place that doesn't have a team,
And then you kind of just pick the surrounding one, right? Or like whatever your parents believed in. So like even my grandparents lived in Myrtle Beach
okay.
before like Atlanta was a thing or the Panthers. So they were actually Washington fans. I don't want to say the appropriate name because people are gonna get mad. It's okay.
It's the what is it? Commanders?
It's the Commanders.
Yeah. So like even beforehand, like they still were that because the Carolinas, they only had, I mean, even the Falcons weren't there. So like, I mean, you kind of just were Washington because nothing else
That's
was
it.
really around at the time. So
And they've stuck with that?
yeah.
They stuck.
Oh yeah, yeah. My whole family, I mean, my parents, they could care less about it now. They used to be huge. They're huge national fans because I grew up an O's fan. But my mom was like a Senators.
Oh, wicked cool.
Yeah, like she did all of that back in the day, the Expos kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So when the Nationals came in the early 2000s, I just switched over. My mom and I actually did commercials for the Nationals, which was really cool.
I'm not surprised at all.
Yeah,
I'm not surprised.
I'm a huge like that's like one team like I like the Nationals are like my baby. But the Battle of the Beltway is really fun because it's Baltimore versus DC.
Yeah.
So like you'll see a lot of people wearing like for me like I wear like my Orioles like bucket hat and I'll wear like my Nationals jersey because everyone just kind of over time, especially like being a millennial, people kind of support both teams. But you can't do Ravens and Commanders. You can only do like baseball,
No.
which is fascinating that like baseball is the only sport you can do that. And then Capitals, there's no other Baltimore team. So it's
Crazy.
fun. Yeah.
What are your teams again, Scott?
Well, they are the Jets and the Knicks.
The Jets are playing tonight too.
Yes, they're
Oh
playing very
wow.
shortly. The Jets Patriots.
You guys are
Yeah.
wow. And you guys are spending your time with me. I am honored. That's so nice. But you're like, at least we're having a couple beers to pregame for this.
We are underdogs by 6 points tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And
Against the
we
Jets?
are
The Jets, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, the
Interesting.
Jets. Yeah, the Jets are good this year.
we're both one. We're both 1-1.
Yeah.
One
Well, I
and
mean, I can't speak. I'm also 1-1, and our win is against the Giants, so I can't really.
Yeah, you can't say much.
It's not. It's not looking good, but that's okay. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I feel like a lot of the teams, like even 2 years ago, that were like bottom barrel, are now like doing really well.
Yeah.
So even doing like fantasy, like we're both in a bunch of different fantasy leagues, and it's like I'm like I think like Arizona, I'm like oh like I mean they're okay, but I was like oh the Texans, I'm like oh they're terrible. He's like no they're actually decent now. I'm
right,
like
exactly.
what is happening?
It's weird. Like the
It's so-
powerhouse teams are like just okay. And then
Yeah,
the bottom dwellers are actually overachieving.
right. It's very it's interesting. I don't know, and like even with quarterbacks and stuff, it's very confusing because like there's no like big like house names anymore. Like I feel like 5-10 years ago, it was like every team had their quarterback. And like
Oh,
they
yeah.
never left. Ever, like, like even just like Russell Wilson. I'm like, this is so confusing to me.
Yeah, he's like on his third
Peyton
team.
was on this team. Tom Brady's on his team. Like I just
Yeah.
knew like whose quarterback was ever. But now it's like every year.
I
Like freaking
think
Andy Dalton.
Mahomes,
Yeah.
Mahomes is it. That's it.
And I would say Lamar Jackson, like great
Lamar.
examples. But we have Andy Dalton starting for the Panthers. I'm like, what? This man has been on 6 teams.
Yeah, it's crazy.
We were like looking. I'm like, how? Like, where was he before this? I'm like, this is so confusing.
Yeah.
I think obviously for franchises, they want to have their quarterback, but
the Russell Wilson one, just every time I see him, I'm like, oh wait, what?
I'm like, what do you do?
I only think of him as a Seahawk. That's it.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just so weird to me.
It's confusing, but it's fine. I mean, I'm used to it with baseball because every year people get traded.
Yeah.
And it bums me out, but especially since a lot of Washington players go to Philly, so we've exchanged a few words.
Okay, every team has another one that they just keep swapping players.
Trey Turner and Bryce Harper, and they took Ryan Kerrigan. So 2 complete different sports. They all went to Philly, and I was like, "This."
Ouch.
It was. I think it was like the year that we started dating too, and I was like not happy. But anyway.
Well, the synopsis on this Fest beer from Mayflower, the floral notes have kind of calmed down a bit. It is a gorgeous looking beer. Look at that.
That's a great color. I'm thinking they just used a hop that wasn't. Maybe it might have been a little bit more floral than they anticipated.
It's definitely calmed down now that my palate's used to it. But it doesn't have that nice punch of malt, that malty punch that I'm really looking for.
It
doesn't have it.
Yeah,
like
and that's good that breweries do different ones. At least you can find which one works for you.
This one did. The Lord Hobo did. You can even smell it. It's
I
love
those
guys. We're going to go watch football. I cannot thank Lindsay enough for joining us. I am very well educated and very well.
I haven't said a word all show. I'm just taking everything in. This is great.
Tell your people if they're ready, if they want a round 2, let you know. Because I feel like we just touched the surface.
Yes, I would love to have you come back if that's cool with you. I've got questions here that we didn't even get to.
Yeah, I told you. I was like, we can talk forever if you want.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Guys, please comment. Please like, subscribe. Follow Lindsay. Do you want to give your social for people out there that they can find you?
Hoppy Hayes, Hoppy, and my last name is Hayes, Hayes.
Are you just on
I thought
Instagram?
It was Haze. I thought it was Hoppy Hayes.
Hayes is my last name. Yeah, that's why it was even
like
more
you planned that, right?
Yeah, because I think the alternative was IP Hayes, and it just didn't go really well with me. I was like, IP, yeah, like I was like IPAs, but I also IP Hayes, and I was like, that's a little borderline for me. So we just stuck with alliteration, and luckily every beer has hops, so works out.
We are going to be wearing hop necklaces to the festival on Saturday.
You have to text me. I have to send you my number. I need a picture. We're FaceTiming, and I need to see this in action.
Yeah. I grow Comet hops here in my yard.
I love that.
And it's a very underrated hop, in my opinion.
We were just talking. We're brewing a beer for our wedding, and we actually wanted Comet because it's a base beer that's already at the brewery. Yeah, Comet's a very underrated hop. I agree.
I have some, and I don't do anything with it. I just smell it, and then I will send it to you. Honestly, it's
come down.
This is the this is the 4th year I've had it.
That's really cool, actually
amazing.
Yeah,
and I don't brew, so I don't know how I can package it and send it, but I'll talk off air.
Figure out. I mean, you should also talk to local breweries and see if they want them.
It's not that much. It's probably
okay. Find the smallest microbrewery that's like, hey, because most breweries, even if they have a 15-20 barrel system or beyond, they usually have a 1 to 3 barrel small experimental system that they could probably be like, fuck it, let's throw some Comet and see what happens. Yep. So you never know.
This brewery right here is the only one that I know that does it.
Widowmaker.
Bam. This girl is so educated.
there
It's just
was-
it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
It's ridiculous.
so I could pass like 2 different tests. If there was one, so you like put headphones on me and give me like 5 seconds of a song, I'm like right there because my dad was a drummer and like in the minivan.
I will do that
and
next time.
Yeah,
do that next time.
but also branding for breweries, I'm pretty spot on with like most of them.
Amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I do social media for breweries too, so it's like I'm very like market research for me is literally stalking other people's social media, which is kind of creepy, but
Wow,
they're amazing humans. I also went to go see them. They're good people.
amazing guys. Just
Lamplighter and yeah, I mean, we went to Vitamin C. Like we did the whole 9 when we were there, and Boston
Lamplighter put out a sticker after was it Ron Burgundy?
Yeah,
When they were talking about stuff, and he says, "I love Lamp." They actually put that sticker out.
That's literally marketing genius. Like that's
genius.
why like brewery marketing is like my favorite, just because you can be silly and weird, but so
you
creative.
need to promote that person. Whoever came up with "I love Lamp."
Yeah, I'll reach out. I'll tell them, be like, hey, whoever this is, give them a high five for me.
Unbelievable. But so Widowmaker does a beer called Blue Comet, and it is a 7.172 right around there IPA, and they use Comet hops.
Yeah.
And it's delicious, absolutely delicious.
We did so when we're about, we do a lot of like punny and pop culture ones. So ours was Calm It Down, like calm.
I like that. Calm
It Down. That was a West Coast. Yeah, it was 1.5. It was delicious.
Our last episode, we talked about funny beer names, and one of my favorites was Citra Ass Down. And
that's actually a good one. I've come up with a lot in my day. Like I did during 2020, I did just with my music taste, I did 30 Seconds to Marsin, which surprisingly was not a beer yet.
No one has that?
It wasn't at the time. I'm sure it is now.
That's a registered trademark. That's registered.
Yeah, I was really proud of that one because like I love doing just like music references and puns. But we've done, I mean, gosh, I could like send you a bunch that one Robot Sun, and like some of them I'm like, I wouldn't have thought of that. And they're so good. But now you have to check on tap to make sure 10 other breweries don't have it. So.
It's already gone. As soon as this goes live, it's gone. It's gone.
Yeah.
Dude, that's amazing.
Well, you're mixing music next time.
Music and beer together for a beer name. Done. Do you like some of their beer names are crazy. It's dark. It's super dark and like
I actually have my own list of beer names because I know brewers like a lot of them aren't like that creative or they're so tired of coming up with names. I have a beer list of like maybe 100 different names that I'm like, if any brewer ever is tired and needs names, like I have a crap ton based off of very dark. I feel like Burial or like True would love the names I come up with because they're very dark but some of them are funny. So
we did one at Stellwagen, and it was after. Do you know The Cure? Obviously, the band The Cure. Okay, yeah. It was not Disintegration. It was Disintegration.
Genius
was the name. All right. They got a call.
Oh yeah.
They got a call from the Robert Smith people.
Yeah, they did.
And he said, "I will." And he's like, "Who is this?" And it wasn't Robert Smith, but it was his lawyers. Yeah. And the brewer, or no, it was the owner. And he was like, "No, like, how did you hear about this?" And he's like, "Well, you know, we searched the internet from time to time, and it came up." And he goes, "Robert, his only request is you send him a case of this beer.
That's
and
how it should be.
You can use it."
That's how it should be, because there's so many different ones, and I'm like some breweries, I'm like, okay, you really are crossing the line. Like you deserve a cease and desist. But sometimes I'm like, you know what? Why can't the band just be like grateful that the small brewery like loves them so much, and they're just like, give me some beer, or let's make it a collab, and let's move on.
That's what it was, and it wasn't so much where they use that terminology because you can't really register that. Yeah. It was his. If you look, his silhouette, and he has like a guitar. Except it was a paddle, like it was a mash paddle.
Yeah.
With the forks in it.
Yeah.
And he's holding that.
Awesome.
But it looked like he had the hair and everything in the silhouette, so it looked just like him.
Yeah,
and he's just like,
I'm gonna show you a beer real quick because I have a beer collab with a band. Just real quick, and then you can leave me. I just want to show you an example.
I love the beer music collabs. I want to see more of that.
Because I live for it. This is also in almost my hometown in Maryland. So this is actually like a family situation. So it's August Burns Red, and Elder Pine, which is located in Maryland. So the brewer at Elder Pine is actually like brothers with one of the band members. So this is like a fun like collab that's like it actually like they know each other. But I feel like marketing, if you're gonna collab with a band, it's immediately gonna sell out. Because
Yes.
there's so many
100%.
hands on and it
100%.
sells out immediately.
Yep.
And I'm just like, man, I wish I could do that. Like, I feel like it was Iration that did a beer collab in like California. I feel like it was. And I was like, man, I could get that. And it like sold out instantly.
I think Stick Figure did one.
Maybe it was Stick. I remember it was one of them that I was like, man.
And it had their logo on it and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a great because I'm in marketing, I'm in social media marketing. It's a great tactic for both parties to thrive and do well. And for a
win-win.
band, it's like let's add something to our resume and just make a beer. This is a coffee.
It makes more sense. It makes more sense than two breweries getting together because they're like,
yeah,
bro, I could have brewed that beer and made 100% of the proceeds, but we're putting both of our names on there and we're making half.
Yeah, I think the best thing if two breweries are doing a collab, I think the best thing to do is if one brewery, so say like, for instance, one brewery like specializes in lagers and the other one kind of struggles with like finding that sweet spot with lagers. It's a great way for that brewery to like showcase a lager in their tap room if they can't like, especially in new breweries, like usually lagers are like the hardest thing. It's the hardest thing to brew. People don't know that lagers are like very difficult. Like the
IPAs
go immediately.
Dude,
yeah.
Scott, you could brew an IPA. You could absolutely do a hazy IPA. It's not difficult.
Yeah, because the appearance doesn't matter. It's going to be hazy no matter what.
You're not filtering it. Do a nice crisp lager.
And honestly,
then wait.
Put either blood orange or grapefruit and it'll mask whatever else is going on.
Yeah. Some adjunct, throw some apricot juice in it or something.
Maybe some lactose. Why not? Milkshake IPA.
They do that.
Like, easy. No, I've had some nice IPAs in my day, but the joke is definitely with breweries. Like, you know, if you are gonna like mess up on something, like a milkshake IPA is a great way to mask things, or like a kettle sour, because you can kind of just throw stuff in there. And
we talked about this 2 episodes ago, where one, it's an IPA world. Whether you like it or not, it's an IPA world. And 2, the sad truth is, if you don't make a good IPA, I probably aren't going to your brewery. That's how sad it is.
I couldn't tell you the last time. I don't think I've ever been to a brewery that didn't have an IPA, to be fair. I mean, that's honestly like, it's it's not traditionally an American style, but the American IPA and the hazy exist because of us. So like, even again, you go overseas, you're not going to find a lot of IPAs, but if I ever see a brewery that doesn't have IPA on it, well, the first thing is if there's a brewery that doesn't have a lager, I'm already like out the door. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
That's already like a red flag to me. But if you don't have an IPA, you need to hire somebody in marketing, or you have no idea. You've never worked in a brewery before.
You are losing money because most of the people are looking for that.
Right.
They're looking for IPAs.
Yeah. You need an IPA, a lager, and like a sour. Sour doesn't have to be, but those two specifically, your brewery has to have, which I don't know any that don't. So I guess they're doing something right.
The ones that are still thriving are doing them. And like your friends over at Vitamin C, they're not doing one. They're doing like 8, 9, 10 different ones. Why not?
I visited them twice now, which is awesome. Because like there's breweries I haven't been to even locally. And like I've been to Vitamin C twice. And even like the freaking slushies, like Dino's a great friend. He is doing it right. I mean, his merch is phenomenal. The taproom experience is phenomenal. Everything there is just the graphic design. It's just an awesome, awesome thing to see. And it just
he did. He just did a collab with Trillium.
Yeah.
Trillium, other half, and Vitamin C.
Yeah, that checks out. I mean, he's good friends with them. Like, I know he's good friends with Trillium.
I'm like this. I'm like, just you can kill me right now because I'm.
Is it out currently? I might have to call him.
It was a couple weeks ago. Yeah,
I'll have to call him and be like, yo, because I mean, unfortunately, like I follow so many breweries. I wish I could cut it down, but like I don't see things on Instagram all the time unless people send me stuff. But some stuff like that like slips through the cracks, and I'm like, man, I wish I knew about this.
He does a blue.
Is it a hazy?
Of course, it is. It is an absolute juice bomb. Like I
Dang
want
it.
to like tap. I just want to tap it in and just go. It's that
Yeah.
good.
I'm
It's
so
that
picky
good.
about hazies, but vitamin C ones are
But you can taste all 3 breweries in this.
Ooh,
Absolutely. You can
that
get
could
all
be
3.
misconstrued as weird, but you know.
It is like, oh wow,
My
that is
brain
definitely
also.
a trillium malt. Oh, wait, hold on. Like
And then
that
it just
crazy hop
goes
saturate,
on you.
and then the finish, bam. It's
That's
that
really
good.
cool.
They lasted what that 4-pack lasted 12 hours.
Well, look, you can just watch the game from here.
Oh, we're winning already. Guys, we're gonna go watch football.
There
I
you go.
cannot thank Lindsay enough.
Yes.
Please come back on the show. We would love
I
to have you.
would love to. This is definitely one of the best ones I've done.
Thank you
I haven't
so
said
much.
a fucking word all day.
Yes,
Yeah,
you
so
have. You've
Scott
said
can-
17
Scott can
words.
be the lead singer
17.
next- Have
You're
fun
going
at
to take
the fest.
over next time.
Yeah,
Okay.
there you go.
I got you.
Guys, thank you for watching the Pints and Profits show. We will be at the Cape Cod Brewfest this Saturday. Look for us. We'll be wearing black t-shirts with our logo. We have stickers. We have coasters. We're going to record some of it so you guys can see how awesome this festival is. It's a great time. The weather should hold off. It was supposed to rain in the morning, but I think it's going to blow out of there by the time we get there. I'm looking forward and seeing a whole bunch of my friends in the industry and introducing one of my great friends to the industry. And we're going to be tasting a whole bunch of beers. Scott, any closing thoughts for you?
No, thank you so much for coming on. I just soaked it all in and learned a lot from both you guys. It was great. Thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome.
guys.
Lindsay,
Have
go
a beer
for
for
it.
me this weekend, please.
What's that?
Have a beer for me this weekend.
Oh,
Please.
I'm going to try to have one less beer for you.
There
this weekend.
there we go.
We're not driving. We have drivers to drive us to and from.
Wow.
We'll be having a GoPro. And I even made this crazy prop.
Well, I have to see it now. Show and tell.
It's a fake microphone.
All right.
I cut the cord off of it, but I'm going to be interviewing people like this.
That's amazing.
And tell me again, what did you like about the beer? This is from I think it's from
Radio Shack.
Guitar Hero.
Oh.
I think it's a guitar. It's a Guitar
We're
Hero.
gonna make a lot of
just want-
content this weekend.
I love that. Oh, I cannot wait to see it, guys. I can't wait to follow along and see all the amazing things you do for the community and beyond.
We just love it. And I'm glad a newbie can embrace and like, oh wow, what have I been missing? This community is one of the best. It's some of the best people in the world.
Yeah,
it really is.
Yeah, we're all right.
So guys, thanks again, and we will see you next week.